If you want a new way to make cool bag straps, you're going to love this video. Welcome back to Country Cow Designs. We make bag sewing patterns and we sell all the supplies that you need to make them. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a really unique strap using Paracord. It's a really strong strap and it can be adjusted to whatever length you need. So you can make a handbag strap or a nice long crossbody strap. So you can make single colour straps or you can use more than one colour if you want to. And all of these straps that I have here, they're all made with the paracord that we stock at Country Cow Designs. So it's all 4mm paracord and it's using our 3/4 inch hardware. So we recommend for a shorter handbag strap over the arm, you need about 10 meters of paracord, or for a longer crossbody strap, we recommend about 13.5 meters of paracord. So I find this is a really addictive make. It's a great little thing to do in the evenings in front of the TV, makes me put my phone down and gives me something else to do for a change. It's also productive, obviously. Adam has very kindly made me this jig. It's very handy because I can fix my hook on the top so it doesn't swivel, and I can then fix this one to the bottom using a piece of string or a short piece of paracord, and it means I can knot quite easily. Having said that, until I had this, I just did it off the back of a door or the back of a chair. So I would simply sellotape my hook to the top of the back of the door and I would paracord from there. So you'll see this jig in the video. It just makes my life a little bit easier, but you don't need one. Having said that, if there's somebody handy at home who wants to stick a couple of nails in a piece of wood, you can go ahead and do that. So we'll get going. I'll show you all the tools and supplies that you need. And just so you can see, these are some of the colours of the paracord we're stocking online if you need to get some. Okay, so here's everything you need to get started. I want to make a crossbody strap, so I have got 13.5 meters of 4mm paracord. It's also called type 3. There's a few different names for it, but yeah, it's 4mm. I've also got two 3/4 inch hooks, a pair of scissors, a lighter, and this is a hairpin, a bobby pin, very useful. Alternatively, you can get some paracord tools. So I've just bought this and we're going to start stocking these in the shop as well. And this one here is a 4mm paracord needle. It is quite handy for finishing off, but not essential, so you can use a bobby pin if you prefer. To get started, we're going to attach our bottom hook. So you want to find the middle part of your paracord. So I'm going to put my two ends together. I'm going to pull it through all the way. Right, so we found our middle piece. We're going to pop it through our hook, and then you want to pull all the paracord through that loop. And if you're doing a crossbody strap like me, it's quite a lot of paracord. Okay, so we have got the middle of our paracord attached to our bottom hook. Now I want my strap to be about 105 centimeters. It's around about 41 inches or so. Long. That's the actual paracord bit, plus you've got your hooks. So I'm going to measure 105 centimeters. It doesn't have to be exact, but here is that point. And then we need to attach our top hook. This one is a bit more fiddly, so you may have to watch this a few times. Bear with me. So firstly, we are going to put the paracord over the top. We're going to do one at a time. So I'm going to pull this one over through the hook. Obviously you've got a lot of paracord to pull through here, so just be patient with that one. Right, so we pulled it through. We're going to go around the front, in through the back. Again, pull all of your cord through that whole piece. It's really fun when it starts getting tangled. So I pulled that all the way through, and now we want to go down through this little loop that you have just made and pull the whole thing down. Doesn't have to be exact because you can change the measurements slightly afterwards, so don't worry if you've lost your place. All right, and then when we pull that tight, it has got the same fixing that you've got on the bottom. So here we've got our top hook. This is your extra long piece of paracord hanging out the edge. That's what we want. And now we want to attach the right hand side. So we are going to go through the front of the hook. We're going to attach this one very long and then adjust it afterwards. So through the front of the hook, we want to wrap this around the front, and then we come up through the back of the hook on the right hand side, and then we want to go down through this loop that we've just created. So here we have the same kind of attachment as this side, they both match, and we've got our loose ends on the outsides. And now we're going to adjust this one so that it's the same length as this one. You do that by pulling this front piece, but you need to pull it from this side. So we're pulling this up and through. So if you pull this one like this, it's shortening this, and then we pull it down this side to lengthen this. And we keep doing that. And it's going to take you a little while because you've got a massive long piece of paracord here, which you need for your bag strap. But it does mean it's going to take a little while. So keep pulling through. The fun thing about paracord is it likes to be made into knots, and it seems to do it on its own. Right, so I just want to make sure these are definitely both even. We've got our tight knots there. You have either side a long loose piece, very long. Right, so that's my right hand one. Here is my middle. These are my middle strands. Okay, and they attach to my bottom hook, so mine aren't quite perfect, so I'm just going to adjust it slightly. Just want this one ever so slightly shorter. Right, okay, and we are ready to begin. So you've got your loose ends on either side, and this is your middle filler. Okay, so we're going to start knotting. So Adam has made me this very handy piece of wood for my paracording. Before this, I simply did it from the back of a door. So here I'm gonna hang my hook on this little screw here just to hold it in place. And then I have got another screw on the other end to hold my other hook in place. Before I could do this, I simply got some sellotape and I sellotaped my hook to the top of my door, and I did it like that. So you don't have to have one of these. This is handy. Adam's made it for me. I looked up jigs online, paracording jigs, but they're all designed for bracelets and dog collars, things like that. So none of them are long enough for what I need. Hence Adam made this one for me. But as I say, you can just use some sellotape. Just sellotape your hooks to the top and the bottom of your door. And you can work like that if you need to, or you can even just sort of do it on your lap if you don't mind, but it's easier, I find, if it's kept taut. Okay, so we're going to start the first knots. So here we go, we've got our loose ends here and our middle filler here. Now it's just a basic square knot. They're all the same, it's very repetitive. Once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. So we want to make a little loop with this one. Our right hand one is going to come over the top, and it's going to go underneath all of them and out through this loop. So obviously at the beginning you have got mass loads of paracord to pull through, but that gets easier as it gets shorter. So we started off with a left hand loop, and then we're going to pull it tight, nice and tight, and then we're going to do the opposite side. So a right hand loop, we're going to go over the top and underneath all of them through the hole. And pull it nice and tight. And we're going to do this on repeat. So again, left loop. The right piece goes underneath all of them. Paracord is super strong, so you can just pull as hard as you like, and you can push your knots up if you like as well. As you keep going, if you're anything like me and you're doing this in front of the TV, you might forget which loop's next, the left or the right. The way to tell is this one that's sticking up, or that's over the top basically, that's the side that's next. So I know this one is going to be a right loop. We're going to go over the top and pull it back through. Pull it really tight. Now that this one's on top, it's the left loop. I had to figure that one out for myself, and it was really useful once I realised, because the number of times I'd forget which side I was on and do the same side twice. Right. And we're going to keep going like this the whole way through. Now this jig type thing that Adam's made me is super handy because it's just holding everything taut, which I really like. And now we're going to go left loop. It did take me a few goes of getting confused about the knots before I got the hang of it. I've done a few straps now, so it's dead easy. And every now and then I do like to just make sure my knots are nice and tight, sort of push them up. Adam's put something anti-scratch on here so it doesn't wreck my hardware, so that's really great. Very, very helpful. Okay, so it's the same the whole way down. It's a nice long strap, so it's very repetitive. You'll be a pro at these knots by the time you get down to the bottom. And then I will show you how to finish off. Okay, so I am getting down to the end. You can see this is my end fixing for my little jig. You can ignore this bit. It's just to hold it taut. The great thing about having it taut here, it is easier to knot, but also you're going to have less ends to hide. Having said that, if you've got down to the bottom and you've still got a section left and you don't have enough paracord left to knot all the way down and have a little bit to feed back up, don't panic, don't just throw away your strap. You can change that. So you can cut these and you can either hook it round and melt them together to form another piece, or you can do the same fixing that we did at the very beginning at the top end, but it just means that you'll have more pieces to hide, so it'll be a bit more bulky at the end. But as I say, don't throw away your strap if you get to that bit and you don't have enough paracord left. So I will just finish this end piece. I have gone a little bit tight on my amount of paracord. I probably should have made my strap just ever so slightly shorter. I was aiming for about 105 centimetres. I think I've got about 109. So I haven't got as much spare paracord at the end as I'd like, because I do like to have a bit to play with. Okay, so that's my final knot. See that strap? So now what we want to do is get rid of these pieces. We want to hide these. So this is the most tricky part, I would say, of the whole strap, but it is doable, so just don't get too frustrated. So we're going to feed these pieces, one through here and one through here. Okay, so that kind of fills out our hook, and now we need to get these up inside here. So you've got a choice. This is a 4mm paracord needle. We can use this, which I've just got, and I think I'm finding it easier. I'm not 100% sure. Alternatively, a hairpin or a bobby pin. I don't know if everybody calls it that or just us in the UK. You can use this. So I'll start off with a bobby pin because I think more people are likely to have these than a paracord needle. So we're just gonna put your paracord on there like that. And this is where it gets fiddly, but you're gonna have to feed it up underneath your little knots. And you'll know if you've got bobby pins, they have different lengths, so that's where it gets a bit of a pain, but you will probably want to get it behind 4 of these pieces. So that's just 2, I need to keep going. Yeah, and if you've done your knots lovely and tight, it's very tricky. But you do want tight knots because it gives you a neat strap. Right, I think I'm through 3 of them. Now you might want to take your paracord off to do this bit. It's up to you, it's personal preference. But I'm thinking this might make it easier if I take it off. Can manoeuvre a bit better. I've left my bottom knot a bit loose just to make it slightly easier, and you can tighten that up afterwards. Right, I think that is number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so now you need to pull it through, wriggle through. Obviously, because it's doubled over on itself, it's very tricky to get through. Hey, there we go. Right, that's number 1 through. Just going to pull that a little bit taut. Okay, and then for the other one, I'm going to show you how to use the paracord needle. We're going to start stocking these. They are fiddly to fit, but they are very handy. So you want to get your loose end, cut it at a slight angle. Use a lighter. You've got to be really careful with this. You want to melt the end slightly, and then do not burn yourselves. Use gloves or something. And then you feed it in and you twist. Right. Ooh. Okay, so now it's fitted on. So we've gone through our hook and we now want to go underneath the 4 pieces again. Now, this can be slightly easier because it's obviously not doubled up on itself. But having said that, the needle is quite big, so it's a different kind of difficult. Takes a lot of patience. Right, okay, I'm going through now. So I just try to be very gentle with this because I don't want my paracord to be pulled out the back. There we go. Right, and then it usually either pulls out or you just twist it the opposite direction. Okay, now we're going to just try and pull these tight. So we just kind of want to try and neaten up our knots if we can. Now we need to get rid of these bits. So we're going to cut those off. I tend to bend it slightly to cut them as close as I can. I'm just going to make sure they're extra tight. Cut them without cutting the rest of your paracord. And then you want to very carefully just slightly melt the ends, but without burning the other bits of paracord, or you're going to have a little bit of a burnt looking strap. I like to try and tuck these underneath if I can. So I have got another tool I like to use. This is another paracord needle, but you see it's got a flat tip. And I find this quite useful for lifting these up. So I try and lift this one and kind of push these ends underneath. I was thinking if you've got a felt tip the right colour, you could just colour in those ends as well, just to make them even more discreet. But yeah, I like to try and cover them with the knots that I've got here. So here's my finished strap with my 3/4 inch hooks. All the ends are tucked away and tidy. And you can also make two-tone ones. Here's an example of a two-tone one. So yeah, you can get creative, make them any colour you like. So here is my completed strap. It looks nice and tidy. I've attached it to one of our Sevion phone bags here. So you can see the crossbody length is the perfect length for me, but obviously you can adjust things if you want to. There are loads of different types of knots you can do with paracord, loads of different patterns and things. So if you'd like to see more videos, just let me know in the comments, and I'd love to show you some other types of straps we could make. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.